ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं विष्णुवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 5 चैप्टर 5 वर्स 19। इदं शरीरं मम दुर्विभाव्यं तत्त्वं हि मे हृदयं यत्र धर्मः पृष्ठे कृतो मे यदधर्मारात् अतो ऋषिमां वृषभं प्राहुरार्याः। Translation. My transcendental body, Sachidananda Vigraha, looks exactly like a human form, but it is not a material human body. It is inconceivable. I am not forced by nature to accept a particular type of body. I take on a body by my own sweet will. My heart is also spiritual, and I always think of the welfare of my devotees. Therefore, within my heart can be found the process of devotional service, which is meant for the devotees. Far from my heart have I abandoned adharma and non-devotional activities. They do not appeal to me. Due to all these transcendental qualities, people generally pray to me as Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Person of Godhead, the best of all living entities. So Ṛṣabhadeva is Supreme Lord. So he's explaining his human-like form, not human form, it's human-like form. So he's saying, so he's saying, sorry. He's saying my transcendental body looks exactly like a human form, but it's not a material human body. It's not a material human body. It is inconceivable because he looks like a human, but it's not a human form. The same thing with Krishna's form also. So it's human-like. So In the first canto, there's description about so the sages, initial conversation between the sages and Sutta Goswami. So there's one very nice verse which actually describes Krishna's pastime, Krishna's superhuman activities. Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena keshavah atimatyani bhagavan guda kapata manushaha. So kapata manushaha, guda means confidential, gopya. Kapata manushaha. Kapata means cheating. Like he looks like he looks like a human being, but he does atimartyani. Atimartyani means superhuman. So he does superhuman activities, but he has a human-like form. But he also does human-like activities. Like Krishna, so Krishna takes birth, which is normally for human beings. And then Krishna, like other children, he drinks milk, he eats, he plays pranks, he tells lies. So he does everything which is just like a human child. But then he also does superhuman activities. It's Govardhan, he kills various asuras. So we should not see human-like activities and think that he's human. Actually, the human being is made after the image of the Supreme Lord's human-like form. That is why we say human-like form. We can't say Krishna-like human being because then it will create a lot of confusion. And so you can say human-like form because this human form is actually a mirror or it's based on the image of Krishna's form. So when you see the human form, we can understand that Krishna also has this kind of a form, and hence we have this form, not the other way around. But it's not material. Krishna's form is not material. Though it looks like, there's bleeding, there's blood in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Bhishma Pitama, he glorifies the Lord, saying that, my wound, my arrows created wounds on the body of Krishna and there was blood. But this is all just to cheat the atheists who want to think of Krishna as a human being, not ordinary, but maybe a great human being. But they don't want to think of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Lord, Samam Bhonam, absolute truth. So to misdirect such cheaters, such atheists, Krishna takes on his form and his pastimes bewilder such people. But then the same pastimes give so much of happiness to devotees. Devotees see Krishna crawling on the floor, then stealing butter, being tied up by Mother Yashoda, telling lies. All this, it just gives so much happiness to devotees. It is inconceivable. But Krishna is saying, I am not forced by nature. Ṛṣabhadeva is saying, I am not forced by nature. We are all forced by nature to accept a particular type of body, but Krishna is not forced. Krishna takes on a body by his own sweet will. Paritrana sadhana vinasha dharma samsara sambhavami atma yada yada vai dharmasya glani bhavati bharata atyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyam tadatmanam sujamyam. By my own sweet will I appear. But we can also understand that Krishna also has a heart, but his heart is spiritual. And because he has a heart, he always thinks of the welfare of his devotees. Heart means feeling. So Krishna has a heart and he always thinks of the welfare of his devotees. Just note this. It's such an important point. That he always thinks about the welfare of his devotees. Using this device newly and I can So I always think of the welfare of my devotees. Therefore, within my heart can be found the process of devotional service, which is meant for the devotees. So, process of devotional service is meant for the devotees. Far from my heart have I abandoned adharma and non-devotional activities. So, Krishna doesn't like adharma. Krishna does not like non-devotional activities. So, activities for sense gratification. He does not like. Even if they are punya, not very attractive to Krishna. They are non-devotional. They do not appeal to me. And due to all these transcendental qualities, I'm called Ṛṣabhadeva, the best of living beings. Purport. In this verse, the words idam shariram mamaturpi bhavyam are very significant. Generally, we experience two energies, material energy and spiritual energy. We have some experience of the material energy, earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. Because in the material world, everyone's body is composed of these elements. Within the material body is the spirit soul, but we cannot see it with the material eyes. When we see a body full of spiritual energy, it is very difficult for us to understand how the spiritual energy can have a body. Because body, by definition, we think that it is material. So when we see a body full of spiritual energy, it's very difficult to understand how a spiritual energy can have a body. It is said that Lord Ṛṣabhadeva's body is completely spiritual. Therefore, for a materialistic person, it is very difficult to understand. And this is true of also pure devotees who achieve perfection or close to perfection or achieve perfection. Their body is completely spiritualized. Though it might look like a material body, but it's fully spiritualized. So it's through the, like we were discussing about this chanting and the material mind. So there's material mind and there is spiritual mind. So when the mind becomes spiritualized, then things are revealed through the spiritual mind. But the mind is material, then we just use the faculty of the mind to think, contemplate, speculate, etc. But that's material. But eventually the same mind would have become spiritualized. And we can't necessarily make out the difference, just that in the spiritualized mind, things get revealed. In the material mind, we concoct. For a materialistic person, the completely spiritual body is inconceivable. We have to accept the version of the Vedas when our experimental perception cannot understand the subject. Not that we reject it. When our experimental perception cannot understand the subject, meaning by our intelligence we can't understand the subject, we should not reject it. We should just simply accept it based on the version of the Vedas. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Supreme Lord has a body with form, but that body is not composed of material elements. It is made of such Chit and Ananda, spiritual bliss, eternity, and living force. By the inconceivable energy of the Supreme Person of Godhead, the Lord can appear before us in his original spiritual body. But because we have no experience of the spiritual body, We are sometimes bewildered and see the form of the Lord as material. The Mayavadi philosophers are completely unable to conceive of a spiritual body. They say that the spirit is always impersonal, and whenever they see something personal, they take it for granted that it is material. So they say Krishna's form is Maya. And so Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.11, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. Avajananti mam mudha. Mudha cannot avajananti. They can't understand me. When I take manushim tanum, I take like a human form. Param bhavam ajananto. They do not know my param bhavam. Param bhavam means my transcendental nature. Nama bhuta maheshwaram. And me, my supreme dominion over all that is there, all bhuta. And the bhuta maheshwara, the supreme controller of all the jivas, of everything. They cannot understand this. Unintelligent people think that the Supreme Lord accepts a body composed of the material energy. We can easily understand the material body, but we cannot understand the spiritual body. Therefore, Ṛṣabhadeva says, Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam. In the spiritual world, everyone has a spiritual body. There is no conception of material existence there. In the spiritual world, there is only service and the receiving of service. There is only sevya, seva, and sevaka. Sevya, who is being served, seva, the process of service, and sevaka, who is the servant. And so on. Sevya, sevya, seva, sevaka. Sevya, seva, sevaka. These three items are completely spiritual, and therefore the spiritual world is called absolute. So we can understand seva is actually spiritual. And who is one who is always engaged in this seva, which is spiritual, becomes spiritual. His existence becomes spiritual. Therefore, the spiritual world is called absolute. There is no tinge of material contamination there. Being completely transcendental to the material conception, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva states that his heart is composed of dharma. Dharma is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is saying dharma is explained by saying sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Whatever that dharma is, Krishna is just saying, give it up, reject it. In the spiritual world, every living entity is surrendered to the Supreme Lord and is completely on the spiritual platform. Although there are servitors, the served and service, which is sevak, sevya, and seva, all are spiritual and variegated. Variegated means it is not stereotype. It's not like everyone looks alike. Everybody's service is same. It's boring. No. It's full of variety. We think variety means we think it's only material. Because in Brahman, there's no variety. So Mayavadis think, no. So Supreme Lord cannot have a form because there's variety. At the present moment, due to our material conception, everything is durvibhavya, inconceivable. Being the Supreme, the Lord is called Ṛṣabha, the best. Ṛṣabha means best. In terms of the Vedic language, Nityo Nityanam, we are also spiritual, but we are subordinate. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is the foremost living entity. The word Ṛṣabha means the chief or the supreme and indicates the supreme being or God. So we have to remember that this material conception is in the material world, but the Lord's form is completely spiritual. Though it looks like a human form, it's not a human form. It's not a material form. It's Sachidananda. Sachidananda. Tasmad bhavanto hridayena jataha sarve mahiyam samamam sanadham aklishta buddhya bharatam bhajadvam. Susushanam tad bharanam prajanam. My dear boys, you are all born of my heart, which is the seat of all spiritual qualities. Therefore, you should not be like materialistic and envious men. You should accept your eldest brother Bharata, who is exalted in devotional service. If you engage yourself in Bharata's service, your service to him will include my service, and you will rule the citizens automatically. It's a very nice last statement. If you engage yourself in Bharata's service, your service to him will include my service, and he will rule the citizens automatically. So your service to him will include my service because I am telling you to serve him. So by serving him, you are serving me also. Purport. In this verse, the word Hridaya indicates the heart, which is called Ura, the chest. The heart is situated within the chest. And although instrumentally the son is born with the aid of the genitals, he is actually born from within the heart. Please understand this. So whatever is there in our heart, we will get that kind of a son, meaning our consciousness. According to the heart's situation, the semen takes the form of a body. So this is our consciousness. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, when one begets a child, his heart should be purified through the ritualistic ceremony known as Ṛṣabhadeva. Yesterday, Vanshi Prabhu was saying that they did Ṛṣabhadeva samskar. It's very powerful. It's a ritualistic ceremony, but it's very powerful. Even if we don't have the consciousness, if we just do Garbhadana, we'll get, our heart becomes purified and we get good children. So that is why this is, like I keep saying, one of the things that we should do is protect and spread the samskara. Encourage non-devotees to not come to devotion. Encourage them to follow samskaras, to do samskaras. And this one is the most powerful way to actually beget devotee children. So if somebody goes through this Garbhadhana samskara nicely, then they will have devotees, or at least very qualified souls as children. Ṛṣabhadeva's heart was always uncontaminated and spiritual. And heart of material people is always contaminated and material. Because his heart was uncontaminated and spiritual, all the sons born from the heart of Ṛṣabhadeva were spiritually inclined. So if we are spiritually inclined, our children will be spiritually inclined. If we are materially inclined, then our children will be materially inclined. Nonetheless, Ṛṣabhadeva suggested that his eldest son was superior. So although all of them were spiritual, still there are some who are superior and others who are not superior. So he's saying his eldest son was superior and he advised the others to serve him. All the brothers of Bharat Maharaj were advised by Ṛṣabhadeva to adhere to Bharata's service. The question may be asked why one should be attached to family members, for in the beginning it was advised that one should not be attached to home and family. However, it is also advised Mahiyasam Padarajobhisheka. One has to serve the Mahiyan, very spiritually advanced. Padaraja, Abhisheka, Padaraja is dust of the lotus feet of Mahiyasam, of Mahiyan. One should do Abhisheka in that. Take bath in that Padaraja. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. By serving the Mahat, the exalted devotee, one's path for liberation. Dwaram, Mahat Sevam, Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. It becomes open. The family of Ṛṣabhadeva should not be compared to an ordinary materialistic family. Bharat Maharaj, Ṛṣabhadeva's eldest son, was specifically very exalted. For this reason, the other sons were advised to serve him for his pleasure. That was to be their duty. Although we should not forget this opportunity to serve exalted devotees. Mahiyasam. Padaraja Abhisheka means not that we hold on to their feet and try to take out all the dust from their lotus feet. No. We have to follow their instructions and serve them. By following their instructions, we serve them. I was saying this yesterday also. All disciples should know the instructions of their guru and should follow them. Not knowing the instructions of a guru is also part of Guru Ravagya only, because you're not even bothered to know the instructions. We should know and we should also do, should follow. And just like Bharat Maharaj is exalted, so serving him includes service to Krishna or service to Ṛṣabhadeva. Similarly, service to Guru includes service to Krishna. That is our duty. The Supreme Lord was advising Bharat Maharaj to be the chief ruler of the planet. This is the real plan of the Lord. In the Battle of Kurukshetra, we find that Lord Krishna wanted Maharaj Yudhishthira to be the supreme emperor of this planet. He never wanted Duryodhana to take the post. As stated in the previous verse, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva's heart is Hridayam Yatra Dharmaha. Characteristic dharma is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. So, the real dharma is surrender. The characteristic dharma is surrender unto the Supreme Lord. To protect dharma, paritranaya sadhuna, the Lord always wants the ruler of the earth to be a devotee. Then everything goes on nicely for the benefit of everyone. Just note this. Just if the ruler is a devotee, everything goes on nicely for the benefit of everyone. Just like Rama Rajya, or Yudhishthir Maharaj, or even Pitu Maharaj. Like that. All exalted souls, exalted devotees, when they become rulers, then everything goes on nicely for the benefit of everyone. As soon as the demon rules the earth, everything becomes chaotic. At the present moment, the world is inclined toward the democratic process, but the people in general are all contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance. Consequently, they cannot select the right person to head the government because they're contaminated. They don't have the intelligence, pure intelligence, to select the right person. Meaning, their criteria for selection would be on the passionate and ignorant platform, not on the goodness platform. The president is selected by the votes of ignorant Shudras. Therefore, another Shudra is elected, and immediately the entire government becomes polluted. People strictly follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita, they would elect a person who is the Lord's devotee. So, if you can't elect the person as the Lord's devotee as the ruler, then what is the point in electing a demon and becoming responsible for that election? For all the nonsense he will do, we will also become part of it. Then automatically there will be good government if there is a Lord's devotee on the seat. Ṛṣabhadeva therefore recommended Bharat Maharaj as the emperor of this planet. Serving a devotee means serving the Supreme Lord. So a devotee always represents the Lord. When a devotee is in charge, the government is always congenial and beneficial for everyone. Of course, this devotee has to have some Kshatriya qualities. He cannot be a Brahmana. Brahmana is supposed to advise, but Kshatriya will rule, but he has to be a devotee Kshatriya. Meaning he has to be a devotee and he should have Kshatriya qualities. Brahmana cannot punish, but a Kshatriya has to punish. But he has to be a devotee, like Yudhishthir Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj, Ṛṣabhadeva is saying, so Bharat is qualified and you all serve him. And in that service is included my service. So we have to understand this. Serving a devotee means serving the Supreme Lord. And that is why service to Guru and service to Krishna are considered as two parallel rails of a track. So both have to be served. But if you cannot serve the Lord directly, just serving devotee also includes service to the Lord. Lord is extremely pleased. Yasya prasada bhagavad prasada. But that service should be pleasing to the Guru. And also one more thing. Uh, Sometimes we are, at least in the initial days, after my initiation, I used to think saying that, okay, shouldn't I tell my guru what all I'm doing? Because then only he's going to be pleased, right? Yasya prasadat, how is he going to be pleased if he doesn't know what I'm doing? No, but that happens automatically by our willingness to just follow in instruction of the guru. The mercy flows. The guru is pleased because guru is pleased when we follow instructions of Krishna, when we live for Krishna's pleasure. So automatically that mercy flows. Bhuteshu virubhya uduttamaye sarisrupasteshu sabodhanishta tato manusya pramata tatopi gandharva siddha vibhudanugaye devasurebhyo maghavat pradhana dakshadayo brahmasutaastutesham bhavappara sotha virincha viryah sa matparoham dvijadeva devah. Of the two energies manifest, spirit and dull matter, beings possessing living force are superior to dull matter, possessing living force, meaning vegetables, grass, trees, and plants, are superior to dull matter like stone, earth, etc. So this is a hierarchy of living entities. Superior to non-moving plants and vegetables are worms and snakes, which can move. Superior to worms and snakes are animals that have developed intelligence. Worms and snakes don't have intelligence. Animals are better than this category of jivas. Superior to animals are human beings, and superior to human beings are ghosts because they have no material bodies. So they, because of the desire of the ghost to enjoy materially, they are inferior. But by construction, by bodily construction, they're superior because they don't have a material body. As the body becomes more and more subtle, we become more superior. Superior to ghosts are the Gandharvas, and superior to them are the Siddhas. Superior to Siddhas are the Kinnaras. Superior to them are the Asuras. Superior to the Asuras are the demigods. See, Asuras are so superior, but still they are wasting because of their self-centered existence. But Devatas are superior to the Asuras, and so the Lord always favors Devatas. And the demigods and all the demigods, Indra is supreme. Superior to Indra are the direct sons of Lord Brahma. Sons like King Daksha and supreme among Brahma's sons is Lord Shiva. Since Lord Shiva is the son of Lord Brahma, Brahma is considered superior, but Brahma is also subordinate to me, the Supreme Person of Godhead. Because I'm inclined to Brahmanas, the Brahmanas are best of all. In this verse, the Brahmanas are given a position superior to that of the Supreme Lord. The idea is that the government should be conducted under the guidance of the Brahmanas. Although Ṛṣabhadeva recommended his eldest son Bharata as emperor of the earth, he still had to follow the instructions of Brahmanas in order to govern the world perfectly. The Lord is worshipped as Ṛṣabhadeva, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmanayaya. The Lord is very fond of devotees or Brahmanas. Of course, very fond of devotees. Devotees means Vaishnava. Vaishnava should already be a Brahmana. It can't be that the Vaishnava is non-Brahmana. It can't be that a Vaishnava is behaving like a Shudra. Vaishnava should have the qualities of the Brahmana. This does not refer to so-called caste Brahmanas, but to qualified Brahmanas. A Brahmana should be qualified with the 8 qualities mentioned in text 24, such as Shama, Dhamma, Satya, Titiksha, etc. The Brahmana should always be worshipped, and under their guidance, the ruler should discharge his duty and rule the citizens. Unfortunately, in this age of Kali, the executive is not selected by very intelligent people, nor is he guided by qualified Brahmanas. Consequently, chaos results. The mass of people should be educated in Krishna consciousness. So that according to the democratic process, they can select a first-class devotee like Bharat Maharaj to head the government. So they should be educated in Krishna consciousness. And now we see those of us who are educated in Krishna consciousness, in the name of doing some, our duty towards the nation, we go and elect some nonsense person. We say that he is better than the others. He is a better asura than the other. But we are not expected to select a better asura. We are expected to select a first-class devotee to head the government. The head of the state is headed by qualified brahmanas. Everything is completely perfect. In this verse, the evolutionary process is indirectly mentioned. The modern theory that life evolves from matter is to some extent supported in this verse because it is stated, Bhuteshu Virudhyaha. That is, the living entities evolve from vegetables, grass, plants, and trees, which are superior to dull matter. In other words, matter also has the potency to manifest living entities in the form of vegetables. In this sense, life comes out of matter, but matter also comes out of life. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. There are two energies, material and spiritual, and both originally come from Krishna. Krishna is the supreme living being. Although it may be said that in the material world, the living force is generated from matter, it must be admitted that originally matter is generated from the supreme living being. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. The conclusion is that everything, both material and spiritual, is generated from the supreme being. From the evolutionary point of view, perfection is reached when the living entity attains the platform of a Brahmana. A Brahmana is a worshipper of the Supreme Brahman. And the Supreme Brahman worships the Brahmana. In other words, the devotee is subordinate to the Supreme Lord, and the Lord is inclined to see to the satisfaction of his devotee. The Brahmana is called Ṛṣabhadeva, and the Lord is called Ṛṣabhadeva, the Lord of the Brahmana. See, though the Lord is the Lord of the Brahmanas, he still worships the Brahmana. Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Brahmanya Deva. So, Brahmana Hitayacha. So, he likes the Hita, the well-being of Go and Brahmana. Actually, in the pastime of Jaya Vijaya, the Kumaras cursing Jaya Vijaya, actually the Lord talks so highly about Brahmanas. So he says that his greatness has come because of his service to Brahmanas. And then the Kumaras are fully confused, saying that how is it possible? Lakshmi Devi is always serving your lotus feet because your lotus feet great. But then you are saying that the greatness of your lotus feet is coming because of your service to Brahmanas. It's just your humility, they say. Just to show the world that the Brahmanas have to be qualified and that such qualified Brahmanas should be worshipped. And we should understand, of course, higher than the Brahmana is the Vaishnava. So somebody might be a Brahmana if he has come to the Brahman stage, but one who worships Krishna is higher than Brahmana. The evolutionary process is also explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, wherein it is said that there are two types of living entities, moving and non-moving. Among moving, there are birds, beasts, aquatic human beings, and so on. Of these, the human beings are supposed to be the best, but there are few, 4 lakh species only. Of this small number of human beings, there are many low-class human beings like Mlechas, Pulindas, Bauddhas, Shabaras. The human being elevated enough to accept the Vedic principles is superior. Among those who accepted the Vedic principles, generally known as Varnashrama, few actually follow these principles. See? So those who follow Vedic principles are the cultured human beings, they are superior. Of those who actually follow the Vedic principles, most perform fruitive activity or pious activity for elevation to a high position. So among human beings, there are low-class human beings who don't follow any Vedic principles. Then there are those human beings who follow Vedic principles, but for some elevation to higher planets, etc. Then Manushyanam Sastreshu Kashchit Yatati Siddhaya. Out of many attached to fruitive activity, one may be a Jnani. That is one philosophically inclined and superior to the Karmis. Who is this person? Karmi is still a person who is following Vedic principles for doing fruitive activity, Karma Kanda. But better than a Karmi is a Gnani. Yatadamapi Siddhanam Kashchin Mam Veti Tattva. Out of many Jnanis, one may be liberated from material bondage. And out of many millions of liberated Jnanis, one may become a devotee of Krishna. Now just imagine how difficult it is to become a devotee of Krishna. Though we are not a liberated Jnani, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, we have got an opportunity to become a devotee. We are not yet become a devotee. We are in the process of becoming a devotee. Though we don't have much knowledge, though we are not liberated, we are at least a devotee praya. Devotee praya means like a devotee, resemble a devotee. We are resembling a devotee, but we are not yet a devotee. A devotee means pure devotee. We are on the path. So in one way, we can understand that we have gone past this karma kanda, doing all these Vedic rituals stage. We also gone past the stage of just searching for the Supreme Lord, because we already come to the Supreme Lord. Just that now we are few steps away from being liberated and then achieving Krishna Prema. And then we'll become a devotee. So that is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and specifically his Senapati Bhakta, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, comments, anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, there was four low class people, Malech and all extra. What are they?
Mlechas are basically people who are in the western part of the world. Actually, this description is there in Bhagavatam. You can search in Vedabase. Exactly. Pulinda, there's one verse. What is that? The Pulkasha. Abhira. Kirata Hunandra. Pulinda Pulkasha. Abhira Shumbha Yavana Kasadaya. Yenecha Papa Yad Apashayashtayaha Sayaha Shuddhanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. So these are all Kirata. Kirata means province of old Bharata. Huna means part of Germany and Russia. Andhra. Kirata, Huna, Andhra province of South India, which is Andhra Pradesh. Pulinda means Greeks. Pulkasha, another province. Abhira, part of old Sindh. Shumba, another province. Yavana, the Turks. Khasa is a Mongolian province, etc. Like this. Then we can also search for not Yavan. Mlecha, why it didn't come up again? Was the name of one of the sons of Maharaja Yayati, who was given the part. There you only Yavana. Yavana was the name of the sons of Maharaja Yayati, who was given the part of the world known as Turkey. Then Mlecha, the Yavanas were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, by giving up the Brahminical culture, they became Mlecha Yavanas. So Mlechas are those who have given up Vedic culture, and Yavanas specifically are those who belong to this, who lived in Turkey. Another prince called Turvasu, who was also known as Yavana, and his country was conquered by Ṛṣabhadeva. So like this, all of these are different race of human beings from all over the universe, all over the, at least Bharatavarsha. Okay.
Okay.
What else? Anybody else? Okay, there's nothing else. Yantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhudeva Chapatitanam Pranideva Shmito Namo Namanam Spativaśam ki jai, Samaveta Gaurabhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna.